Hello everyone, this is Jimmy and welcome to episode 7 of SevTech Ages. Today we're delving into the Betweenlands. Remember, our goal is to be able to process that aqua mineral gem we got into the... So we have one of these ores, we want to process... Okay, let's step in the portal. We want to process it into the gem so that we can make ourselves a smeltery. Now, the process of doing so involves some Betweenlands exploration, but we're not going to do the whole mod today. The whole mod is very expansive, has a lot of features, and I don't think we need to try to tackle all of them right now. So the first thing we need to do is find our way into a cave. Now, I lit up some of the surrounding areas just so hopefully we don't get ambushed by like piranhas or whatever walking out of here, but I didn't see a cave entrance. So I'm thinking the easiest way to get into a cave might just be the classic old-fashioned dig for it. So this silt is also quite valuable. If we look at it, it can be directly smelted into silt glass, which is usable as glass in almost all recipes, in at least a lot of recipes. So I wonder if we make hoppers out of this. Yeah, a lot of the glass recipes can use silt glass instead of regular glass. So I'm also going to harvest some of this. Now I'm using our all-in-one tool, and you can see how it's very slow. If we make a Betweenlands pick, or I have a Betweenlands pickaxe, but this is dirt, so let's make a Betweenlands shovel. I think it'll be actually faster, even if we just make it out of wood. Let's find out. And maybe it's not actually faster. It's about the same speed. The point is that these vanilla style tools are significantly worse in the Betweenlands. So we're going to, at some point anyways, have to use actual Betweenlands tools. Now, as far as I understand, the Tinker's Construct tools are more or less unaffected by this change. So I guess where possible, I'll stick to Tinker's Construct. Yes, like that's the all-in-one tool pickaxe, and this is the Betweenlands wooden pickaxe. The difference isn't big. And then once we get down, I'll show you how fast the Tinker's Construct hammer is. And remember, the hammer mines a 3x3, so it's a little slow. Anyways, I think I'll just use the hammer to mine where possible, and we can use the torch launcher to place torches. So I'm just gonna dig down a little bit and look for a cave entrance. Hopefully we run into one. If not, I'll just strip mine a bit until we find it, and then we can look for the... What do we need to process this again? We need to make a purifier, so we need some octane as well as some sulfur and swamp water. So I'll be back when we get into a cave. Well, not a cave, but I found the first thing we need, sulfur. We're actually not that far down. Just happened to run into a little bit, so I guess I'll just harvest it. I think this is approximately equivalent to coal in the overworld, so sulfur shouldn't be too rare. Yeah, that's 19, it's enough for now. So once again, looking for a cave. Alright, shortly after we mined up that sulfur there, the biome changed. If you look right in the middle of the screen, to caverns. It was wilderness, and I think that is something that automatically happens when you cross Y level 100. But a little bit further down, we ran into a cave. So let's explore this together, see if we can find some of that ore. And it is really dark in here. So a little bit more sulfur. I don't know how much of this we'll need. I'll probably stop when we get like a stack of it. But yeah, we're looking for octane or something. Octane. It's orange glowy ore, I expect. Also, some of these spikes I heard can contain life crystals. I'm not quite sure how to tell if they have life crystals, but I think we'll need some of that too. Yeah, we're looking for, I guess, life crystal ore or life crystal stalactites. Because life crystals can be used to make something. One of these things is something we need. I'm not quite sure what it is. Anyways, I think it's used later in the progression, but we can keep an eye out for that as we go. In an effort to not get too terribly lost, I'm going to follow the torches on the right paradigm. So while caving, you put your torches on the right, and then on your way back, you follow torches on the left. Although in all likelihood, whenever I get to where I go, I'm just going to dig another tunnel up and then work our way on the surface back to our portal. I think we have enough sulfur, I can stop gathering it. This mod is, they do a good job of setting the atmosphere. It's a very, I don't know, spooky feel. The sounds of it are very spooky. It's, I'm not sure if, like, for you guys how it sounds, but for me it's like 360 degrees of that, like, low hum around. What is this? Slimy bone ore. I think this is just another one of the, like, progression materials in the mod. It can be used to make tools and weapons, I expect. Yeah, so I think it's just the next tier up from wood. Alright, I'll get it where I see it. There's hanger. Does it drop anything? Nope. Meh. I am so afraid of this place. And I haven't even run into any mobs yet. I have a feeling maybe we're not deep enough for that octane ore. Is the limestone useful for anything? I'm also almost out of torches, so I hope I have more. Doesn't look like it. It looks like I'll just be running around for a bit. So how about I'll cut here, and then I'll see you again either when I run into that ore or when I run into something else interesting. Alright, we have our first, at least one of our first hostile Betweenlands mobs here. And this is a chance to demonstrate the difference between the Betweenlands weapons and and regular weapons when used here. So if you look, when I hit it with the all-in-one tool, it's dealing about 2 damage to it, or 1 heart of damage. Whereas if I hit it with the bone sword, it'll deal a lot more, right? 5. So I do need to be careful not to actually die to this guy. But yeah, this is, ooh, is there something else here? Now I'm actually in trouble. Let me eat some food. Anyways, I guess this is an example of how this mod is like forcing you to use their weapons and stuff. Personally, as a player, I'm not a fan of this type of implementation. It's like, in order for you to make this mod stuff relevant, they just make other stuff irrelevant, which I don't know. It's like a very, seems like a lazy and boring way to implement things, but hey, who am I to talk? Anyways, killing that seemed to have given us some stuff. Looks like he dropped some ores, but just inventory clutter. Anyways, back to exploring. Alright, here we have it. Some octane ore. And I think earlier we were just too high a Y level for it to spawn. So now that we're at 58, they don't seem to spawn in particularly large veins, but I've seen it in a couple places already. There's a vein of 2. Looking around, I saw a couple more against the wall somewhere, but here's a couple more. I really don't like how the view distance here is so short. I don't know. So far, color me not a fan of this mod in general, but maybe that's just because I'm not the type of player that enjoys exploration mods all that much, though. And I don't think I picked up the other 2 pieces from earlier because my inventory was full. Alright, so we have 4 of these. I'm going to get a little bit more just in case. Hopefully that means we won't have to make another trip down here in the future. And then I'll have to head back. I've jumped off some cliffs and stuff, so there's no way I'm coming back or going back the way I came. I'll probably just dig a hole back. Like there's a bit more up there. Pitstone, what is... So I think this is like the next biome down. But I am definitely not jumping in there. Let's just get this octane and get out of here. Hopefully without getting knocked off. Sorry if my voice is a little crackly today. I think I'm starting to get sick. Maybe. I hope I'm not, but that's what it feels like. Oh hey, that's a nice vein. Alright, so yeah, I'm going to look around a little bit more, get a little bit more to this ore, and I think it's time to head back to the surface. Well, I was just digging up there and I got hit by something and knocked down here. So I guess it wasn't as big a fall as it looked like. It wasn't the bottomless pit I feared. And I got an achievement for coming down here. How do I pull that up? Enter the Pitstone Caves. So I think, I mean, now that I'm here and not dead yet, let's take a look around, right? I think there's Valornite? I don't know what it's called. One more tier of stuff. Valornite ore spawns down here. And this is, when it breaks, you get Valornite crystals, which can make the next tier of weapons and tools. Which seems, and some pretty decent armor. I think this is maybe approximately diamond tier. So, I mean, now that I'm here, I may as well look for it, right? Let's see how we do. Also, like, all these cave surfaces don't like to accept torches because there's a lot of stuff on them. It makes it really annoying for lighting the place up. The bats here even attack you. Everything has so much health. I think that's a Valornite ore just on the left there. Could you not? I'm just here to plunder your caverns. If I had fortune, I'd get more, but alas, I do not. Oh no, that's sky bass. What is this? Does not look very useful. Oh, this is what coats tools. I'm not quite sure what coating it does, but it does something, so I may as well gather it, right? And I should make sure I save enough of my torch launcher to leave. That's swamp water. Does this debuff you if you get in it? Let's check before. Nope, looks good. I know there's some type of water in this mod that debuffs you. Let's actually grab a couple buckets of it because we'll need it. And if I don't get it now, we'll probably forget to get it later. This is Valornite ore. There we go. I'm still only getting one each, but yeah, let's actually make the better weapon immediately, because this little bone sword I don't think is cutting it. That's not a stick. So what I think you can do with this sky bass is that you craft it like this, and it gives coating, which I think is basically extra durability. Because as the durability of these tools gets used up, where's my old sword? It slowly loses damage. Or as the corrosion goes up, it slowly loses damage. So by coating it, I think you can cause that to not happen. That's what I think anyways. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, I'm gonna look around a bit. Yeah, I don't feel like swimming. This is scary. I'm absolutely terrified right now, if you can't tell. Yeah, I'm not going down there. Alright, I'll come back when something interesting happens. Alright, so I think I've explored most of this cave. Every now and then I still get monsters coming out at me, but anyways, if you look at the bar above my hunger bar, it's starting to go down, and that's like a corruption bar of some sort. Well, turns out I didn't explore most of this, or at least not all of this cave yet. But anyways, if that gets too low, you start getting pretty nasty debuffs, and I didn't bring any tar with me, which is what I think can be used to reduce that. So I think we're about at the very end of this trip. We got, I don't know, I mean, we definitely got the stuff we came here for, and some extras too, right? So I'll call it a success. So I'm just going to gather up that one last vein of whatever that is before heading out. And with any luck, we won't die on our way up. Jeez, these things take a long time to kill. Alright. See you on the surface. On my way up, I ran into a pool of this stagnant water, and I'm pretty sure this is the stuff that debuffs you if you get in it. So I'm gonna step in it real quick just to check, but if I recall, this is a very nasty debuff. Oh, yep, there we go. I guess it just damages you and gives you a slowness debuff. Oh, it actually takes away a lot of your the bar above your food bar, a lot of your corruption or whatever. So I think that's what's giving me slowness, because it took it all away. So yeah, I think now I actually definitely have to get to the surface quickly. Alright, back to the surface we go. And which way is our base exactly? Northwest? Alright, we're back on the surface, and looks like we emerged just a little ways from our portal. I think before we head back, I'm going to take just a minute to grab maybe a stack of this silt, so that I can have easier, access to glass and such. Actually, there's one more thing I want to do too. So let me show you how to reduce this, like those little corruption bubble resource thing. If we chop one of these, is this the right tree? No, it isn't. We need to find a tar tree. I think that might be it. Yeah, or sap. There we go. So if we chop one of these trees, this should take the whole thing in one go. It drops a lot of these sap balls or tar balls, ball of sap. And if we just eat these, I think they recover that resource, and just like that, we're maxed out again. So I'm gonna gather this up for later. Yeah, I'm gonna get some of that, some more of that silt for glass purposes. Ooh, what's hurting me? Stupid frog. And then head back to the overworld. So I'll see you when I'm done. While I was just exploring, or on my way back, I saw the glow underwater, and I just had to check it out. I took a look here, and has anyone else played Subnautica? This kind of reminds me of the scene from the kelp forest there, right? With like the things that eat metal. I forget what they're called, stalkers. And yeah, cool scene. I don't mind the aesthetics of this mod very much. I think it's actually rather, scenic, but I think I'm done with this for now. So time to head back. We'll process our ores down, and then we can get into making a Tinker's Construct Smeltery. And we're back at our base. So to process down this stuff, first we need to make, I think, the Betweenlands sulfur furnace. and craft it again, we can make a double furnace, which I assume is just 2 in 1. And then we can use this to... Is this where... No, this is something else, isn't it? That's not what we need. We need a purifier. So first we need to cook up our octane ore. I see no reason to leave it in ore form. So what does this do then? Sulfur furnace. Oh, this is what you need the limestone for. I was about to say, I swear there was something. But it doesn't look like it has any recipes. I think this can be used as a regular furnace. Let's find out. Yeah. So yeah, this can be used as a regular furnace, but I don't know. I see no reason to do that. Or I guess that's a regular double furnace. And it burns sulfur instead of charcoal. Looks like the sulfur lasts a long time. Anyways, back to this. So 3 of these ingots. We can now make a purifier. Those are weedwood planks. May as well cook all this silt into glass while we're at it, right? So what was the recipe? Something like this. There we go. The purifier. Into here we put swamp water. Let's put all of our swamp water in just to free up our buckets. I think it needs some sulfur. And the ore. So this will... Looks like it takes it quite a while. But that makes the aqua middle gem. The next step in the smeltery then is just to make all these smeltery components. Now the problem is everything here takes a lot of seared brick, which can only be made from grout for now, I believe. Because there is no melting recipe to melt cobblestone into seared stone. We can do 3 ingots to make 1, but... So yeah, end of the day, I think we're going to have to make a lot of grout, is my point. So the only... Well, okay, so interestingly, there is a cheeky workaround we can do instead of grout. I wonder if it's easier. We can melt seared stone into 4 ingots of molten seared stone, and then we can cast 3 ingots of it to make a seared cobblestone, which I believe we can... Oh, never mind. We can't chisel this back into seared stone. Okay. I lied. So, looks like there is no cheeky way. We just have to bite the bullet and make a lot of grout. So, there's our aqua middle gem. Now, grout takes a lot of gravel, clay, and sand. So, I guess it's just a lot of digging. It's not that bad. I think I have enough available right now. Oh, I only have it as seared stone. I should have some over here. Let's make that smeltery, and then I'll have to go digging for some more, or the smeltery controller at the very least. Can I cook you on kiln? I can't. And then I'll go digging for some more of the sand, gravel, and clay. And then we can make ourselves a basic smelter. Maybe just like a 5x5-ish. This is going to take a bit. I'll just cut here and let that cook. I was just out mining some sand and I got assaulted by a demon cat. That's terrifying. It like gets bigger over time. I think witches summon them now? Toxic witches? Ow, that hurts. Oh, whatever. Did you drop anything? Doesn't look like it. That's a shame. Alright, back to gathering sand. Alright, I made a bunch of grout, and a lot of it is cooking into seared brick right now, but I think we have enough to get started. So, let's make our smeltery. Step 1 is obviously the controller. So the Smeltery controller, and that should also do our advancement. Looks like it didn't. And we have a lot more up here. These are all various parts of the Betweenlands. At some point, we might do some of it, but we probably won't do all of it. Anyways, what do we need to do this advancement? We need to complete the multi-block, I see. Okay, we'll do that soon enough. So the Smeltery needs a seared tank, right? That's what holds the lava. We need a number of, what are these called? Drains. Let's start with 2 for now. One for casting onto a table and one for casting into a basin. And is that it? We don't need faucets because we'll be using fluid hoppers, these things, liquid hoppers. So I guess the rest we can just turn into your bricks. So let's build ourselves a smeltery. As I said, is this enough to build a 5x5? Doesn't look like it. We'll come a little short, but let's do it anyways. We have more. No, let's just make a 4x4 for now then. I'm not a fan, or not a terribly big fan of even numbered builds, but 4x4 conveniently, 4 tall ones smelts 1 stack at a time. So I guess that'll do. We get some building blocks just to use. So once we have the smeltery, I don't believe the smeltery doubles ores in this pack. Let me confirm that. I'm pretty sure, right, the melter turns it into 1 ingot. Yeah, the smeltery also only turns it into 1 ingot. We don't get ore doubling until the crusher, which I think is age 4, when we get immersive engineering crusher, and that's our first form of ore doubling. So for now, let's not worry about it. We'll just throw our ores in here, you know, 1 in, 1 out. And we can start replacing our big torches with little torches too along the way. I think we have just enough. Where do I want to put the controller? May as well put it right here. And then we can put the tank over here. And then we can put our drains over here. And once we do this, this should complete that advancement. No? The smeltery not complete? It is. Oh, we did get the advancement. Alright. Cool. So, smeltery out of the way. We can now process ores much faster than we were doing with this, so we can even steal its infrastructure, I think. Take its hoppers, levers. And this will also allow us to produce alloys. So I don't know if there's any, like, I guess we can just make bronze in here directly. I don't know if there's any other alloys that this gives us access to yet. Let's see, how do I want to put this? But yeah, this will allow us to directly create any of the alloys that we'll need. I think age 3 is when alloys really start coming into play. So now that this is done, putting these hoppers in is actually remarkably difficult, because you have to get both the bottom to point towards the table and the top to point towards the drain. But now that this is done, let's look at our next goal. And I'll still have to add some hoppers to automatically collect the resources out of here, but I think our next goal will be to do some Astral Sorcery progression. So we can either, we can make drawers to tidy things up. That's a good idea. We can get into, or we can unlock Journey Map, but I believe that requires doing a fair bit of Twilight Forest progression. Let me confirm that. So the Iron Apple which is what creates the or what unlocks journey map. Let's see. So that's Twilight Forest. This is Betweenlands. That's pretty late in Twilight Forest. So yeah, I'm thinking we automatically unlock journey map with age 3. So I think I'll just wait and not bother with that. So looks like the only thing we really have left in this era. I mean, we can make paper. I guess we'll have to do that to get into Astral Sorcery. But once we get into Astral Sorcery, we can. What I really want is the what is this called? The Mantle of the Stars, because if we get I believe it's a Vitius attuned Mantle of the Stars, this will give us Elytra style flight. And if we combine Elytra flight with the slime sling, right, we can go up, and then we can use the Elytra flight to fly, which we obviously don't have yet. So I think that'll be our next goal, will be to make a deep dive into Astral Sorcery. So let's look at what that'll require. First of all, we already have our Starlight crafting table somewhere. Probably here in Magic. Where's our Starlight crafting? Here it is, our Luminous crafting table. I think for now we can just use it as is, but to upgrade it to the next tier, upgrade it to a I wish I remember the names of all these things. Okay, the Starlight crafting table is the next tier. We have to start making liquid starlight. We also need the resonating wand to do any crafting, and this takes an ender pearl. Fortunately, so the only way to make ender pearls is to make a pan cast and then pour molten ender pearl into it, and this comes from ender dust. So how about, I think I have one piece of ender dust, fortunately enough, that I ran into an enderman somewhere along the way. So I'll make that into, do I have one more gold ore? We'll just use ingots. I'll turn that into an ingot, and then we can get started on Astral Sorcery. Before we can do much in Astral Sorcery, we have to make this constellation paper through this Necronomicon ritual, and doing so requires a lot of paper, among other things, but for starters, it takes a lot of paper. So, making paper, once again, we'll put our army of drying racks to use. We have to make pulp, which is made in a basin with 3 sawdust, a glue, and water. So I think the way it works is that we can, I made 16 basins. If we put 3 and 1 in there, and then does a bucket actually go in? No, it doesn't. It just fills it with water. Cool. And I think, yeah, each one holds 3 buckets of water. So we only have to refill it after 3 crafts. So what I'm going to do is run or fill all these up with water. Here, I'll only do one side and then I'll demonstrate. And then fill them all up with sawdust and glue. And then we can just run along it and right click to mix. And then I think we have to mix 3 or 4 times. And then it'll spit out the finished product. So with that we have some pulp. And once I'm done making pulp, we dry it into paper. Before we get too much further into Astral Sorcery, we're going to need another rock crystal vein, because that first one we found was clipped into the a cave and basically had no ores. So thankfully in this chunk there's another one. So let's get our prospecting tools out. My inventory is awfully full. We have 3 crates though, which should be enough to hold all the ores, I hope. And that's a weak dowsing rod. Anyways, I'm gonna go dig up this vein. Hopefully it'll contain a few more ores with any luck. So once again, it looks like part of our vein may have been clipped by another cave. But even so, this is a lot more than 6 ores, right? This is, I don't know. I expected, I'm going to wait for the lava to go away before I dig, but I expect this will be enough to fill our 3 crates at the very least. So let's put these down and see how many ores this yields, or how many rock crystals this yields. If I had fortune, it'd give more, but I don't have fortune. I do. And my poor inventory is way full. There's 1 crate full. Looks like we're going to be able to fill up all 3 crates and have some to spare. Alright, so there's all 3 crates filled up, and I guess I'll put the rest into our backpack. And that's the entire vein. So it looks like it was, I don't know, maybe somewhere around 50, 60, maybe even slightly more. Almost 100. Actually, I can just count, right? So this is 27 per box. So actually, this is over 100 rock crystals, which that should hopefully last us for most of Astral Sorcery. So, time to head back. Normally in Astral Sorcery, you get these constellation papers from exploring the world and picking them up out of the temples. But because the temples aren't generated, we have to craft them. So I went and mined up a little bit more aquamarine so that we have enough. There are 4 major constellations and 8 minor constellations that we'll need to discover. So we'll have to do this ritual, what's that, 12 times? So let's gather up 12 parchment, 24 gold and rock crystals, and 48 aquamarine. So here's the aquamarine. Gold should be in here. I'll just break this down. And 12 parchment. What else was it? Rock crystals. Alright, actually I should make sure this one's full. Yep. So all that's left is to break this down into ingots. Oops, there goes the anvil. That sound when the anvil breaks is so loud. Alright, that should suffice. So, metals. And we need what, 24 of these? Alright, let's sleep the rain away and then go do these Necronomicon rituals. Oh, I guess it's not nighttime. Well then I guess we'll go do it in the rain. So once again, these are the Abyssal Craft rituals. So it takes some of the potential energy from the book. I left the book here charging, so I hope... Ooh, it looks like we got Shoggoths. So if this Shoggoth ooze is pretty unpleasant stuff, you don't want to like step in it. So I'm just gonna break it real quick before we do anything else. Alright, so our book should be more or less fully charged. It is fully charged. So, why do I feel like I'm missing something? No, it looks like I have it all. So let's start doing the rituals. I'll do one on camera and then I'll do the rest off camera. So we put all our components here, hit it, oops. Put our components here, hit it with the book to start. and then I guess the book. Well, I'll let the book slowly recharge because we're gonna need to do this ritual 12 times, which is more than the book can hold. So there's our first constellation paper. When we pick it up, it should say, yep, it becomes attuned to one of the constellations. So that's done. We've also completed some other advancements. So I'll go make the other 11 constellation papers, and then we can move on to making liquid starlight and upgrading our crafting tables. All 12 constellation papers are now crafted. The first 5 were bound to constellations when we picked them up. These are the 5 major constellations in Astral Sorcery. The others, I think they're unbound. Yeah, it's because we cannot discover the minor constellations yet. So what we can do is shift right click our Astral Tome and store all of these. I guess only the discovered ones can be stored in there. I guess the undiscovered ones will store in our chest for now. So that should be all the constellations we need to begin the next step, which will be to make a light well and start producing liquid starlight, and to find a starlight. I'm not sure how to describe it. I guess it's called like a star field. So we'll do that next. But look, I looked at the amount we have recorded for this episode already, and I think this is a good point to wrap up this episode. So I hope you like this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.